The next video is the next installment for the world's greatest ghosts, and we're up to Spirit of the Deep. If there are ghosts of people who die, can ships also become spirits too? Captain Dusty Miller came close to answering that question, but he took his knowledge to a watery grave when his yacht, the Joy Eater, sunk in 1955. For in the months before his last voyage in the South Seas, something unknown had stalked him and his ship. Passengers reported that another ship was following in their wake, moving along mysteriously through the darkness with no lights or sound. The ghostly ship had a high superstructure aft, they said, but otherwise could describe her only as looking like an ancient galleon from the time of Columbus. When Captain Miller glimpsed her in his binoculars on a voyage to Pago Pago, his face turned deathly white. He ordered the running lights turned off and took over the helm himself, heading the Joy Eater into a squall. When the weather cleared, there was no sign of the ghostly galleon. The Joy Eater had the reputation of being an unlucky yacht, and Dusty knew this when he bought her. Roland West, a film producer with RKO Studios, had built her in the first blaze of Hollywood's glory and named her Joy Eater, Spanish for Little Jewel, in honor of his actress sweetheart Jewel Carmen. The romance fizzled, and bad luck began to haunt the yacht even before her launching in 1931. Workmen fell from the rigging and died. The Portuguese widow of one victim publicly laid a curse on the yacht and its owner. On her maiden voyage to Catalina Island, the ship was towed back into port after a disastrous engine room fire. The Joy Eater was sold and went into charter service. The great stars of the screen were among those who sailed in her, but when a passenger mysteriously vanished, nobody wanted to know the boat anymore. The United States Navy took her over in World War II, but put her back in dry dock when she kept running aground. Even out of service, her record was grim. A caretaker died from battery acid fumes. There was a series of unexplained fires, and 2 men were killed in a fight aboard her. Sold as war surplus, the now shabby yacht went from owner to owner. Dusty Miller bought her with his last few dollars. On October 3rd, 1955, the Joy Eater was put to sea for the last time from Apia Harbour in Western Samoa. Held in port by order of unhappy creditors, she had almost rusted away for months before Miller could persuade them to let him take her out. The Joy Eater carried desperately needed food and medical supplies for the islanders of Fakauwao, 200 miles north, and she was to bring back 70 tons of copra. Besides a crew of 16, there was 9 passengers. Samoans living on the waterfront later claimed that minutes after her departure, they saw a huge dark vessel gliding in the Joy Eater's wake. She was enormously high aft, and unlike any ship seen in those waters. She was travelling without lights and with no sound of motors, but she moved at an incredible speed. Nothing was heard of the Joy Eater until November 10th, 1955, when another freighter found her lying abandoned 90 miles north of Fiji. She had a 55-degree list to port and one rail was awash. Radio gear was smashed, the logbook was missing, and there was no recognisable message, but carefully placed signal flags in the rigging spelled out the letters WNQV. To this day, investigators have not been able to discover what this may have meant. No bodies were found in the flooded compartments, and the fate of the 25 persons aboard is still unknown. In Suva, where the wreck was pumped out, marine inspectors found no answers. The tale of the mysterious ship was put down to native superstition, although it had been government men aboard the Joy Eater who had first reported the ghostly vessel. But the sailors of the South Sea ports still have doubts. They still see a clear link between the doomed Joy Eater and the strange dark galleon from another age. And that ends that installment for the world's greatest ghosts.